Okay, this is going to be a weekly recap from the 10th of October to the 14th of October. And I only had 5 trades, which isn't that many. But one thing I did do, which is a lot different from the other weeks, is that I sized up from a $40 risk level to a $100 risk level. I think maybe my first 2 trades I still had a $40 risk level, but the rest of them were all $100 in theory risk level trades. And I do need to stick to that number $100 in this setup right here. I didn't trade according to my $100 risk level. I guess this one I should have had 150 shares. But yeah, I'm pretty thankful that I've been able to trade now a few setups with a $100 risk level. Worst case scenario, not like, oh, the setup didn't work out, I'll lose $100. Like, oh, the setup didn't work out, I'm not able to cut losses where I wanted to. It keeps dropping, and it got to worst case scenario. That's $100 risk level. My definition of that. So yeah, I'm just pretty happy that, again, thankful to God, no setup. Right after I try $100 risk level, starting from this one right here, just blew up in my face, and then I just lost $100. That would have really sucked. And these setups, they did work out, especially GTII, but it seems like the setups I took just didn't really, work that nicely. But yeah, let's just go over the setups one by one, starting with TXTN on the 11th. TXTM is going to be right here, and it's pretty nice because it's been uptrending over a longer period of time very slowly, and then at this point it started to get a little exponential here with a gap up breaking above this 12 level that I thought was pretty important. I didn't like how it broke past this level with a gap up, but it was nice. Regardless, the volume was there. And let's go ahead and take a look at the 11th. It looks like I didn't trade anything on the 10th. I was in right at the market open, 9:30 at 13.1, and this was a morning spike gap up. I was in it right here at 131. Why did I get in it? Well, I got in it again, broke past that level, gap up, potential morning spike, something that can really look nice and make a move towards the upside. I got out the next minute at 13.2, and yeah, that was just $1 at 9:31. Why did I get out at 13.2? I wanted it to just continuously uptrend. I wanted it to have this nice big green candle like it did right here, and then continue to have more green candles and just be a morning spike. So when we had this price action here, how it just held itself a little, I didn't like it. I also didn't like how there were so many sellers at the ask. It just wasn't looking as strong as I thought I wanted it to, ideally do. So because of that, it just wasn't looking that nice. I got out. It did downtrend. It did make this little wick below VWAP, and then it did actually regain itself. But again, this thing was a very, very hard fought battle. There were just a lot of sellers at the ask, but in theory, it did get as high as 145. So let's just see what that would have been like best case scenario. Yeah, 14 bucks. And I could have tried it again because it did look a little bit better after I had this wick right here and it wiped out some sellers, but I think it was a good attempt for what it was. And this was still with a $40 risk level. Let's look at my first trade, TXTN with a $100 risk level, and this is also on the same day. So I was in at 11.49 at 14.2. So 11.49, I'll have to zoom out to see this one. 11.49 was right here at 14.2, right here at the very top. Why did I get in it? I got in it because it was kind of downtrending, kind of breaking below VWAP, and then here it broke under it a little more. But as you can tell, the volume came in, and I thought, wow, it didn't just like break under VWAP, but maybe this was like a little trap to get some sellers out. And now they're gonna really bounce it, get it above VWAP, and then make it run towards the day high, which was not too far away, 145. And I'm in it at 142 with all of this aggressive price action. I got out of it 2 minutes later at 141, so I just lost $2. 11.51 was right here, and I got out at 141, so right here is when I got out. Very simple, just like the morning setup. I didn't see the continuation, so I got in it. It wasn't just continuously uptrending, making a move towards the day high ideally and breaking it. It just had a little stop I didn't like it. Got out, and yeah, it did downtrend some more. I didn't really do much more, but I mean, it's still hanging in there, so it could be a potential setup in the future if it really tries to make a move towards the upside and I guess break this 15 level and maybe continue to uptrend and ideally not be a gap up. So that was a good attempt. It just didn't work out. Let's look at ILUS for the 12th. 12th is going to be right here. And nothing too significant other than the fact that this was like a break in the pattern. As you can tell with this trend line right here, you can pretty much draw something like this playing off of the wicks. Extend this thing to the right. So this was like a change in momentum in theory. That was the main idea. And although it kind of doesn't look that nice, it broke out of it. And there was a little bit more volume than the past few days, I guess. But most importantly, it broke this trend line. So I thought it could be something where, you know, it can uptrend for a longer period of time because it's a potential sign of a reversal. 12th is going to be right here. I was in at 956.767. Reversal long. Double dip. Trend line break. Plus gap down, sell off, hold. That's a mouthful. 956.767. Let me remove that line since it's going to show up right here. Oh, but you can see how it kind of is following it right here, even as it was over there. Zoom in some more. 956 was right here, and I got in at 767. So why I get in it right here? Well, it had a gap up. Okay, it was super nice, and then it was selling off, as you can tell, and it was going all the way back to the 76s, which was so close to where it was just trading the other day. So, you know, it had a sell off. It's holding right above the levels it was just trading at. And then we also had a double dip trend line break. So what that means is that I'm going to guess maybe it had a trend line like this. Right, so let me extend it to the right. You know, downward momentum, breaks past it, got a little bit higher, but then it dips again. So this is a double dip, and it's holding the same level that it dipped at previously. Maybe a little wick below it, but pretty close for what it was. So again, gap up, sells off to the previous levels, very close to it at least. Breaks this downtrending trend line, has a little bounce, and then it comes back, but it's holding the same level as it was right here, and then holding pretty close to the original levels it was trading at. That's why I got in it, especially when it looks like there was a sign of a reversal, a turnaround. I could even draw a trend line off of these wicks, right? And then it kind of broke past it right here, so that's also another thing that was going for it. I like trading setups, even though they're super wordy. If there's like a whole bunch of things working together, if it's, you know, just one trend line break or whatever, sure, it could work. But if it's like a double dip, you know, holding multi-day support, a whole bunch of things like that, it just makes it, in theory, more likely for it to work. Although I got out 2 minutes later, 958 at 77, 958 right here at 77. Right here I got out. And the problem was, and this is something that I think could be the lesson for the week. I'll go ahead and write it down. Not all setups that work will just spike. Some will hold. I think that's a good lesson. Let me get rid of the period. Not all setups that work will just spike up. Some will hold a little higher than the breakout level, then run. And I guess I can put, to be grammatically perfect, and then run. And let me just make sure there's not two spaces right here. No, it's just one. This was my issue, and also the thing with TXTN in theory that had that, you know, really hard fought morning spike setup. All these things went into consideration, and then, you know, uptrends right here looking nice, but then it has this red candle, and it never broke my risk level, which was the day low. It just held this level, And me, I got out of it right there at 77 twice, two positions, and then it eventually worked out and it got to VWAP, which is always my goal. And it got as high as this 8 cent level, which would have made a really profitable setup. Unfortunately, I just didn't hold on to it because I just thought, oh, all of these things are working, it's just going to shoot up towards VWAP. Instead, it had a little spike, but then it kind of held itself together. Again, never breaking the day low, and then it uptrends later. And you can even in theory, perhaps draw a trend line as well. You know, maybe something even like this, right? And then your sell point would have been right here, which is already at the goal of VWAP anyway. It did get above it later. I guess it did have a little wick with volume right here, but this would have been a good sell signal right here at this level. So this could have been a realistic thing that it could have sold at. It's not like hindsight is 2020. Again, making the trend line from this candle to this candle right here and this one, where it's like the first candle that's breaking out of the range of this 78 level to the wick. Really realistic. Let's just see what a sell at best case scenario would have been, which would have been 8 cents. It would have been 33 bucks. So definitely a lot of room for more profitability. At least I learned the lesson, and at least I didn't, I guess, somehow lose money from it. But definitely I need to get better in that sense. Just get that out of, you know, that newbie mindset that things are just going to shoot up in the air once they work, although it happens. Let's look at GTII on the 13th. 13th is going to be right here. Very impressive stock. Kind of sketchy looking, just hanging around this level. Almost looks like a bit of an ascending. No, actually a symmetrical triangle. And it's kind of broken out of, you know, both sides, the top and the bottom part. And it's just chilling there. Looking a little scary. Let's get to the 13th, which is going to be right here. I got in at 936, 481. Morning panic bounce play. So 936. Right here. 936? Was that really 936? Alright. 936, 481. Right here is 936. Alright, I definitely had the wrong wow. The wrong time period because it was not possible for me to be in at 481. I'll be back. Let me just take a look at my notes and find the right time. All right, I'm back. It was not 936, it was 946, and just to prove it, you see here's my entry on Fidelity, the 13th, 946.55. That was the entry right there. So let's go ahead and look at 946, which is going to be right here, and I was in at 481. So the very top of this candle right here at 946. Why did I get in it? Again, morning panic bounce play, and I watched it closely. You know, it downtrended, and then I wasn't liking the price action too much here, but when it broke this level right here, and then it kind of held on to it. It kind of broke it, but kind of held on and then came back, and then this thing was higher than here. I thought I could have tried it right there and risk this level breaking again. And the idea would be that it would uptrend and get to VWAP, which is, you can see it did get to it right here. I did get out 953. My average was 487, so 953 was right here. I did sell my last piece right here, and just to confirm, I think it was 487 right here. I didn't sell everything in this candle, but this was when I sold my last piece, and my average was 487. Really good trade. You know, I got to VWAP. That was my goal. It just didn't offer that much profitability. I mean, the range wasn't that far off from the bottom right here to the VWAP level, but I did miss out, and I was looking at this, the higher level, the inverse head and shoulders. Shoulder, head, shoulder, and this one is the one that broke past VWAP. I wish I was a part of this. I just didn't see it happening because I got distracted. In theory, it could have been in at 489, and this thing got as high as 515. That would have been pretty profitable, but at least I tried this setup right here, and this one did get to VWAP, and the last trade is a repeat of what that previous trade right here was, and I was also very happy, it seems like, with the way I traded it. That's pretty good. Let's look at the last trade, which is the next day, the 14th. So Right here's the 14th. Now it's starting to break under that range a little bit. And let's zoom out and get to the 14th, which is going to be right here. Pretty similar to this day, but not as nice because the more it happens, the less likely it's going to be super nice. I did miss out this. I wasn't here when this happened, but if I was here, I totally would have tried trading this. At least this inverse head and shoulders, shoulder, head, shoulder right here, or even this. Maybe not this because this was already towards the market close, but this was super nice looking. This would have been too scary, I think, for me to trade. I was in at 949, 460, let's just say 465. 949 right here and 465. Why did I get in this? Morning panic bounce play, you know, sells off from the 497s, gets as low as 450. Definitely range in this one. And then I'm in it right here in this candle at 465. I really didn't want to be in it, but I've seen this happen before where it has a panic, big excessive wick. Then we have a new bottom right here. And now it's trading a new range slightly higher than here, which is slightly higher than the wick. So it's almost like a bunch of baby higher lows. And then I got in it right here when it was looking like it was going to break the top of this range, 465. And the goal was VWAP, which is exactly what it did. It got to VWAP. I got out the next minute at 469. So yeah, right here at 469, right at the bottom. I essentially just got out because it broke out of it, you know, and it was already trading at the VWAP level, the goal. And yeah, I got my order executed at the bid at 469. If I were to maybe have been a little picky, maybe I could have been better and gone out at the ask in the 470s. But I think I wasn't too happy with the way I traded this one because I sold everything at once, and I should always try to sell in two pieces, even if I sell the second piece for less, if it's working. And I think that would have allowed me to maybe have sold the second half potentially for more, or at least have given it the chance if it were to have continued the uptrend past VWAP. And yeah, just definitely something I need to get better at. I should only cut, at least my rule, I try to cut the entire position only if the setup is failing and I need to cut losses. This one didn't do that. And this one did do a higher low as well. Not an inverse head and shoulders, but a higher low. And maybe in theory an entry at 468. And it did get to VWAP 475. And if I would have been patient, it did get as high as the 480s. So that would have been profitable as well, although not as nice as the previous day. That's it for this weekly recap right here. I'm going to stick to a $100 risk level, but I don't mind dropping it if I just hit some kind of bad streak or whatever. Doesn't seem like it the more trades I have. Definitely, I traded things well, but there were some setups that I could have been more patient with, setups that didn't break my risk level and maybe take a little longer than what I would have imagined it to, but it's still uptrended over a longer period of time, making it profitable. I need to try not to miss some setups, higher low setups after a morning panic bounce play. That's it for this weekly recap right here.